वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की fateh. Thank you, Sangat ji, for attending this week's Sangat of the Divine Light weekly discourse. And thank you, Bindi Kaur ji, for leading us in beautiful Simran in the Mool Mantar and Guru Mantar meditation. Today, Sangat ji, I would like to speak about some of the focused teachings that the Gurus have given us, Guru Nanak has given us in their Japji Sahib. And over many weeks, we've spoken about many of these different teachings, these different bodhiyas. We've been going into some of these bodhiyas, these steps of Japji Sahib in a bit of detail. In this discourse, I would like to speak about some of the reoccurring themes in the Japji Sahib. What is Guru Nanak Dev Ji explaining to us about this path of spirituality? And how can we adopt this path? How can we climb these steps to the divine? As a recap, the Japji Sahib is the first scripture, the first blessed scripture that was revealed to us by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, as was their normal daily practice, would wake up in the early hours of the morning. They would take their bath, they would do their Ishnan, what we refer to as Ishnan, their cleansing bath in the river Vai. And they were accompanied by their companion, by Mardana. Mardana was a musician. Together they would pray at the side of the river every day without fail in the early hours of the morning, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. But this particular day, something different was happening, Sangat ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji went into the river, by Mardana Ji waiting on the bank of the river. But as Guru Nanak Dev Ji went into the river, their body came up, and then they will go back down into the river, completely immersing themselves into the water. But what happened, Sangat ji, is that one of these occasions, Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't return. Completely immersed in the river, they were lost in the river itself. Just like one dissolves into another, Guru Nanak Dev Ji completely disappeared into this river. Mardana Ji cried for help. Everybody cried for help. The village woke up, waiting to see if they could see any sign of Guru Nanak, this much loved individual in the town. But there was no trace of Nanak anywhere. 1 day passed, 2 days passed, 3 days passed, and everybody thought the worst, that Guru Nanak had washed away into the river, that we found somewhere else. Really, Sangat ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji had completely immersed himself in the divine. And they were preparing an experience of divinity for the rest of us. And on that third day, in the pitch black dark of the night, Guru Nanak Dev Ji emerged again, radiance on their face. The sweet words were being sung in the village of Sultanpur at that time, where everybody could hear the beautiful words that were coming from Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was giving to us the experience, the message, that direct message of the divine. And the Mool Mantra that's been recited today was that direct message that Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought to us after they disappeared and immersed themselves in this river. And from that Mool Mantra was born the Japji Sahib. Jap means to remember, to recite. And what the Gurus have told us, that if anybody's looking to have any conversation with the divine, that through this Japji Sahib, through this conversation of the Japji Sahib, we too can have that conversation with the divine. The Japji Sahib is the start of the Sikh scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib. And after this, the whole scripture, the whole of Guru Granth Sahib is a flowing ocean of love, which expands on this experience and this meaning of the Japji Sahib. And when we ask our Babaji, Baba Jaswant Singh, when people would ask them, what's divine revelation, what's divine realization, what is Brahm Gyan? Babaji would simply point to the Japji Sahib. They said, if you want to know Brahm Gyan is Japji Sahib. Read the Japji Sahib, contemplate on the Japji Sahib, and you will achieve complete realization. Because woven into these beautiful lines are all liberation, enlightenment, all paradises. The Japji Sahib opens us to understand the power of this mind. It opens us to our spiritual potential. But most importantly, Sangatji, Japji Sahib describes the spiritual steps that we need to take in order to have that union with the divine. With the divine's grace, with your blessings, let us now discuss these reoccurring themes that occur in this Japji Sahib. If we examine this sacred scripture, we find three distinct themes flowing through the Japji Sahib. Firstly, who is it that we should remember? Who should be the object of our devotion? Secondly, how are we to remember this divine? And thirdly, when are we to remember this divine? Firstly, who are we to remember? What is the object of our devotion? What is our purpose in life, Sangatji? The divine wants nothing from us. Nothing at all. The only thing they want, if anything, is for us to experience who and what we really are. They want us to unite ourselves with the truth, this true experience of Satanam, this truth. So if we are to experience and realize this truth, our focus has to be the truth. As Guru Nanak Dev Ji has said in their Japji Sahib, Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Happy Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. Who is the truth? What is this truth? Guru Nanak Dev Ji informs us, Aad Sach. From the beginning of time, we've all tried to evaluate this mystery of what this truth is. Who is God? Who is this divine? How can this divine be found? This pursuit has led us far and wide. We've written and read thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. We've tested the limits of this human body, but to this day, no one's found the extent of this divine. We've built many buildings, but we've also created many barriers to protect our value judgments and our thoughts and interpretations of the divine. And despite having all this truth in our life and access to this truth, we've spent our time connecting with anything that's but the truth. Which is why Guru Nanak Dev Ji says our focus is truth and truth alone. Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Happy Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. So who is this truth? Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, that truth was true in the beginning. Aad means true in the beginning. True throughout the ages, true now, and will always be true. So in the beginning, the divine existed in complete silence. There were no parallels, there was just this one divinity. There was no creation. There were no polar opposites. There was no light. There was no darkness. There was no night. There was no day. just complete silence. No universe, no religion, no deities. The one just existed in complete truth, this one truth, in complete samadhi. And it's through their consciousness of this truth that the divine expand in themselves. And through their light and through their vibration, this creation, this universe, the doctrines, Maya, religion, faith, everything we can see, everything we can't see was then created. But that truth remained the same. That one truth that would remain in silence has remained the same throughout this creation. That true constant has remained constant, sitting within its creation throughout all these ages of time. And this truth, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling us, is sitting here and now, happy such. Do not think the divine is far away, Sangat. They are present here and now. Everything we think, everything we experience, first goes through the filter of the divine, because the divine is ever present. As the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, explaining this, Japji Sahib says to us, Sada Anga Sange Abhangam Vibhute, that this divine is Sada Anga Sange, closer to us than anything within our limbs. Sada Anga Sange. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that this divine will always be true. This is a constant that always remains. Creation, everything we see will eventually disappear one day. Everything will converge back into that one from where it's come. Jiste upaja nanaka sui phir hua. Everything will eventually go back into that one once again. That one is the only thing, that truth is the only thing that's constant. How is it possible for this truth to be the same, present always and everlasting? In order to understand this, Sangat, we have to maybe challenge and reevaluate our understanding, our definition of what God is, what the divine is. Because Satya or truth is not something that's physically created. Truth is a power. Truth is an energy. And as we know, energy can never be created, nor can it be destroyed. Essentially, it just changes its form. It can neither created nor destroyed. And in the same way, this energy is the natural state of the divine. So if the divine was a person sitting on a throne, they simply couldn't be in more than one place at a time. They couldn't be within creation and then sitting somewhere separate. They couldn't be within each and every one of us. But this truth, this energy has no form or image, no chakar chahan. They are not an individual. So they have no status, they have no family connections, no baranjat, no path. If we believe the divine is sitting on a throne or is somewhere separate from us, if we believe the divine is an image or a person or a human, then this individual, this divine, would have been born, and one day they will have to die. They will have a family, they will have a clan, they will have a lineage. But as the 10th Master Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, the divine is a janam hai, a maran hai. They say that na tat hai, na mat hai, na jat hai, na paat hai. They will neither created nor will they be destroyed. They have no mother, they have no father, they have no origin, they have no status. Because they are pure consciousness that's been created by themselves. No one's created the divine and no one will be able to destroy the divine. Because they are a vibration, a power, an energy, a Shakti. And it's this intense energy, this Shakti, that's within each and every one of us. And it's this intense Shakti that we experience through our meditation. Namo Tej Teje, Namo Sant Rupe. They are extreme power, but also extreme bliss. Despite having no form or no image, They're not bound are they by time and place. They're not restricted by time or space. They're not someone who just sits in the heavens or sits in a certain place of the world. The divine is the most exciting thing about our thought, about our creation. Everything that we think, the most inspiring things that we think about is divine. The most clear thought that we have is the divine thought. And this is how the divine is in each and everything we see and wherever we go. Tu sabni jai jithe ho jai. Tu sabni thai jithe ho jai. Sacha sirjanhar jiyo. You are everywhere I am. Wherever I go, you are there. You are the truth. You are the truth. Just like light is everywhere, that Shabad vibration flows through everyone, flows throughout this universe, and flows throughout this time and space. We only realize this Vaheguru, this divine, when we adopt their characteristics in our life. When we let go of this veil of ego. When we let go everything that separates us from the divine. So the Mool Mantra that was recited, there we're describing the characteristics of the divine. And when we adopt these characteristics of being fearless, nirpal, nirvar, not having any enemies, when we adopt this practice, these characteristics of truth, to not be affected by time, to be present in the moment, there we realize the divine in our lives. Wherever we are, whatever we're doing, we can remember the divine. You're sitting in a shopping center and you're remembering the divine. You're living completely in the presence of the divine. You could be working, driving, wherever your consciousness takes you. This is how we realize the divine in the present moment, and this is how the divine will be with us always. When we remember the divine with our lips, with our tongue, with our mind, with our heart. But clearly the divine will only be realized in this present by those who have opened themselves to them. Otherwise, simply the divine won't exist. The divine will simply not be in our contemplation if we're not open to their thought. Something is only going to be true to us if our mind has accepted it to be true. And one fundamental teaching that the Japji Sahib has taught us, that the Bani, the scriptures, all scriptures have taught us, that truth and falsehood can't exist together. Simply if our mind is influenced by negativity and is not receptive to the divine, it will never experience the divine. It's why Guru Nanak Dev Ji has said that we will become truthful. We will experience this truth once we allow ourselves to be open to this truth. And those that are open to this truth, they're the ones who have let go of their ego and they've adopted the divine virtues. They've listened to these divine messages and they've opened their heart to divine love. Give sachiara huiye give pura tutte baal hukum rajai chalna nanak likhya naal. It's an important part of spirituality not to dismiss anything of the spirit. Often we hear things of spirituality. We read things in the scriptures. We might hear someone telling us something. But we're very quick to dismiss those messages. What I've learned is that it's better to say you simply don't understand that message than to completely dismiss the instruction you're given. Because when we dismiss the instruction that we're given, then we're erecting a barrier between that. We will never allow ourselves to be open to any growth. But if we simply say we don't understand, we're realizing the limits of our intellect, then one day the divine, that divine message will seep through you. To completely dismiss an idea is dismissing any opportunity for your soul's awareness. But when we contemplate and when we bring these divine values in our life, and when we start to evaluate and practice spirituality, then Guru Nanak Dev Ji says we will start to experience the natural flow of the divine, this natural hukam, and we start to realize the divine in the here and now. This is a spiritual intelligence that cannot be told. It has to be something that we have to work out for ourselves, and that we work that out through meditation. So in the same way, I can tell you a whole load of things about spirituality. I could tell you a whole wonderful things that our gurus have said. It might inspire you or it might not. But the only way for it to have any purpose in our life is if we practice it ourselves, if we implement it in our lives, if we're open to those messages. And in this way, this truth will be everlasting, will never diminish. Because one day, everything that we see and everything that we've always thought to be true will eventually end. Eventually, everything that we thought was constant in our lives will go. But this one truth, this Ikkonkar, this divine light will always remain constant. So the Japji Sahib, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that this divine, this Shakti, this power is a divine light. They are a power, they are a vibration. They are genderless, they are colorless, they are imageless. They are a vibrational energy. And even just to call them a power, even just to refer to them as the universe, which seems to be the most acceptable way of referring to the divine these days, is completely limiting. So once we've got an appreciation of who we're worshipping the truth. The next question that Guru Nanak Dev Ji answers is how to remember this divine. It all starts with the tongue, with our rasana. This is something we need to taste for ourselves. As the Guru has said, Ik do jibo lakhwe lakhvis, lakh lakh geda akhiya ek naam jagdish. Etaraye pat pavadiyan chadiyan hue akis, ਸੁਣ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆਕਾਸ ਕੀ ਕੀਟਾ ਆਈ ਰੀਸ ਨਾਨਕ ਨਦਰੀ ਪਾਈਐ ਕੂੜੀ ਕੂੜੈ ਠੀਸ. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling us, if I had 100,000 tongues and these were then multiplied 20 times more, with each tongue I would repeat the Lord's name, the divine's name, hundreds and thousands of times. And then, following this path, we come to merge with our divine, with our beloved. On this path, many will hear about the greatness of the divine, the greatness of the saints, and even these worms, even the lowest of people will start trying to grow wings and fly with the saints. But this is a path of blessings. Everything else is false. Everything else is false. What Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying to us here is about our determination to meditate. Having that multitude of tongues is about having that energy, that determination, that discipline, that joy, that excitement to meditate. These are our eventual steps that will take us to our union, to our merger. There is no end to the divine. We just go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's not like you'll climb these steps and that's it, you'll get to a destination. You'll get to your floor. No. This is just encouraging us to meditate, to increase our determination, increase our focus on the divine. But is meditating with our tongue just enough, Sangatji? Is it just enough to repeat Waheguru, Jesus, Jesus, Allah, Allah? Is it enough just to simply recite the Mool Mantra, the Guru Mantra? No. We need to make a connection with these divine mantras. We need to make a connection with these words, these mantras that we're chanting. Firstly, we recite with our tongue. The second stage is then we listen intently. Listening is a much deeper experience than hearing, Sangatji. In listening, we sacrifice ourselves completely in that moment to that place of sound. And in that sacrifice, that's when we start focusing in seva. So first, we're meditating Simran. And then in that sacrifice, we are serving the divine, because you're completely giving yourself. There's nothing left of you anymore. And in that listening, we have blocked everything else out. Hearing doesn't go as deep as listening. Hearing is very surface level. Our surti, our concentration needs to be completely in the Shabad as we move from the outside to the inside. In this listening, we start to listen to the inner voice, the inner sound of the divine. So whilst we engage ourselves in these physical actions, whilst our tongue is moving and we're physically reciting this mantra, we must understand, Sangatji, this path is more about your intention than any action that we will ever do. Because spirituality is 100% all about your state of mind and how you live in that state of mind. And this is what the Gurus have told us, starting from the Japji Sahib and throughout the Gurbani, all of the Gurbani, all the words of the Guru are talking to the mind itself. Spirituality is about this state of mind. But realize this, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that this practice starts with that determination to meditate, a hunger, a thirst, an excitement, that jao, that need to deepen our love. And as this love has started to develop, we start developing a spiritual discipline. There are many who will question and they'll say, well, what's the need of this? Why do we need to meditate so much? Can I not just be a good person, for instance? Isn't that enough to achieve the divine's grace? Of course, it's better to be a good person than not. Of course, it's better to show charity, to show kindness to everybody than not. But I came across a line in the Gurbani once. The Gurbani, in the words of Kabirji, said this: Paap pun doi ek saman. Paap means sinful actions, and pun means virtues. Doi ek saman. Bhagat Kabirji is saying that both sins and virtues are the same. And that sent me racing. I thought, what does this mean? Why would Kabirji, why would the Gurbani be saying that both sinful actions and virtues are completely the same? And then when exploring this further, the Guru guided and explained this. For those that are living in this world, in this physical world of Maya, those that are living in this illusion, those that commit sins, they do so out of pride, they do so out of anger, they do so out of some need, out of some desire, they do so out of a need for self-worth and also ego. But then if we introspect and if we look at our worship, our charity, all those people that look religious and look the part, what is their driving force that's behind their religious sentiments? What's the driving force behind all of their religious actions? Pride, anger, self-worth, ego, desire. So regardless of what aspect of Maya is dominant in you, whether you're performing a religious action or you're performing a sinful action, the root of that quite often is the same. Obviously, it's better to do good than not. But which is why when they say, isn't it enough to be just a good person? Of course, it's commendable. But to find the divine, we need to remove that root of ego, that root of pride, that self-worth, and focus our attention on the divine itself. As the Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji has told us, Teerat bar ardaan kar man mein tare guman, Nanak ne phal jaat te jo kunchar isnan. Those that do pilgrimages at sacred shrines, they observe all the fasts, they might donate to charity, but while still taking pride in their mind, know that their actions are of complete useless. They're just like an elephant who takes a bath again and again, but then rolls in the dust straight after. So wherever is sponsoring our thought, sponsoring our actions, that's what's creating our repeated impressions on our mind. So we need to live the mantra. We need to have a connection with this mantra. And by joining and resting our thought waves in this Shabad, we come into that place of listening, we come into that place of focus. And that's where we start getting the blessings that Guru Nanak Dev Ji speaks of. Nanak Bhagata Sada Vigas, Suniya Duk Bhav Ka Nas. So when Guru Nanak Dev Ji says the Bhagats, those devotees, those that have devoted their life to the divine, they're always in a state of bliss. No pain, no infliction affects them. But where they say Mata Vich Ratan Javahar Manik Je Ik Gur Ki Sikh Suni, on the floor bed of the mind are jewels, rubies, diamonds. Who even listen just to the Guru's word even once? Those jewels, rubies, diamonds, that compassion, that tolerance, that forgiveness, that patience, that contentment sit in the floor of the mind when we truly give ourselves and listen. These are the blessings that come when we focus on the Shabad and on Naam. This is our focus that will remove our thoughts from all our distractions. And when we've truly listened, if we've truly listened, then we'll find this taste, this ras, this anand, this bliss, this shanti, this peace. All this recitation that we do is just to have that one connection with the divine. To recite the divine's name even once is enough if it will take us deeper into our experience. But in order to get to that one connection, we have to do that repeated action. We have to do those repeated meditations. And this is why Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that if I had 100,000 tongues, I'll keep on remembering and remembering and remembering and remembering. Wherever I go, whatever I do, whatever I'm seeing, I'm remembering the divine. I'm remembering the divine. Doing kirtan, singing the praises, listening to these discourses, doing seva, all of these are like watering plants in your garden. But when we get up in the early hours, when we actually start going into that meditation, into that jap of the mantra, when we start reciting the Gurbani, when we start reciting our scriptures, that's when we go deeper into ourselves. That's like planting those seeds of devotion. And nothing will take us deeper into that experience than that dhyan, that meditation, when we're reciting that Bani with that focused mind. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji has named this Bani, this first Bani Jap, which means to remember to chant. And that chanting then turns into this remembrance once we focus again and again and again. The last question that Guru Nanak Dev Ji answers is, when should we meditate? We should always remain in the divine's presence. Throughout the Gurbani, each and every moment, whether we're eating, sleeping, walking, drinking, whatever we're doing, should be a divine moment. But what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is referring to is a specific time in the day. Amrita Vela Sajna Vadiyai Vichar. In the early hours of the morning, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, between 3 and 6 in the morning, when we have the most clarity of this mind, where that silence can be observed, that silence within us and in the world can also be observed, when that divine frequency and energy and that dialogue is awaiting for you each and every morning, that time, those early hours of the morning, is when we should focus on the divine. However it is, however we can get to that, the Amrita Vela is what's going to help us develop our spirituality even further. For those that are struggling to get up at Amrita Vela, it takes time. But once we take one step towards the divine will take thousands of steps towards you. Start slowly. Work back every 5 minutes, by 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Start at 6. Then work back 5 minutes, work back 10 minutes before you get to a point where you're comfortable in your day. Your body will get used to not having the sleep. Your body will get used to waking up at that particular time. And when you're around with spiritualists, when you're in a spiritual center, you realize you're not the only one. There are countless people waking up at Amrita Vela. Focus on that time, focus on that clarity. And in this time, Sangatji, in all this time of doing discourses, and all this time of being amongst the Sangat, Only once has someone come to us and said, "Brother, please pray that I would be blessed with Amrit of Allah. Please bless that I wake up in the early hours of the morning and meditate on the divine." This needs to be our determination, Sangatji, because this is where we start planting the seeds of our devotion. And if we beg the divine for this, the divine will give this to us. We'll start slowly and work backwards. So in conclusion, Sangatji, first, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling us to focus on this truth. Then he's saying, remember the truth, starting with the tongue. Listen intently to this truth. Go deeper into your meditation. And thirdly, you'll find this truth, the divine, in the practice of the Amrit of Allah in the early hours of the morning, where we'll have that deeper clarity in the divine. These are the steps, the foundations, where we can start our outward journey and go inward. And this jap will turn into a constant remembrance that will take us to our destination of ecstasy, of bliss, of Anand. And with these words, Sangatji, I beg your forgiveness. I beg you to forgive any mistakes I've made in narrating these beautiful lines of the Japji Sahib today. Unfortunately, I wasn't very, very well today, and it was a bit of a challenge to come to here today, but the Sangat is ever blessing, and the divine is ever grateful for allowing me to be in your presence today. And with these words, I do beg your forgiveness. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.